You know how sometimes you hear a rumor so absurd you start laughing before it even finishes leaving someone's mouth? Like my Uncle Bobby has alien blood, or that famous entrepreneur is actually just living off daddy's fortune. It's the kind of gossip that makes you wonder, why do people even believe this stuff? Well, the rumor we're talking about today is exactly that kind of thing, folks, claiming Iman Gadzhi never actually built his wealth himself, that his dad had deep pockets, and all of Iman's hustle was just for show. Now, if you know anything about the guy, and by know anything I mean, you've seen more than 2 minutes of his older YouTube videos, you might already be shaking your head. Honestly, when I first heard the rumor, I thought, you sure we're talking about the same kid who used to bus around London making 75 quid a week on social media gigs, you know? The same guy who filmed himself in a musty bedroom with leaky ceilings, reading personal development books by a dim lamp. That doesn't really scream daddy's unlimited credit card, does it? But hey, let's be fair, sometimes the internet is like a giant haunted house. You never know what shadowy figure might pop up with secret info. So in this video, I want to lay out the entire conspiracy for you. Where did it come from? Why do some folks cling to it? And ultimately, how do we know it's just another piece of internet fiction? I promise it'll be an interesting ride, so stay tuned. Chapter 1. The Big Fat Rumor. So the claim was simple, almost cartoonish actually. Iman Gadzhi's entire image of grinding from zero was a facade. No working crazy hours, no reading every personal development book under the sun, no real starting from scratch struggle. Allegedly, there was a wealthy father figure operating behind the scenes, someone who bankrolled Iman's entire existence, funding fancy dinners, fancy gear, and marketing ventures that looked like his own. Meanwhile, Iman, according to the rumor, just pretended to work hard. Now, if you're thinking, that sounds a bit tinfoil hat, you're not alone. But the internet loves sniffing out secrets. Sometimes it finds them like bizarre celeb scandals. But other times, folks just see a success story and start spinning tall tales. Because the alternative is what? Admitting that maybe, just maybe, somebody actually put in the hours to make it happen. But hey, we're human. It's easier for us to cope with someone else's success by saying, they got lucky. It makes us feel better about our own position. If a random 20-year-old built $1 million empire in under a decade, well, that suggests any of us could do the same if we put in that level of hustle. But that can be uncomfortable, so rumors. Let's not forget, negativity sells like hotcakes. Sure, sometimes conspiracies are entertaining, like reading a fantasy novel at bedtime. But when it starts painting real people as liars without evidence, that's where we have to step back and ask ourselves what's really going on here. Chapter 2. Early Days, Real Struggles. Okay, so let's get some context around Iman's upbringing. If you dig into his old content, like go back to 2015 or 2016, where the phone footage is shaky, audio sometimes crackles, and the camera angles are all over the place, he basically lived in a place where the shower was half broken, the walls had mold, and Wi-Fi was a luxury you couldn't rely on. This wasn't some Beverly Hills mansion, it was more like a borderline uninhabitable setup. He was raised by a single mom, with no father figure in the picture. So the idea that dear old dad was funding a covert millionaire lifestyle starts to crumble a bit right there. Let's paint a deeper picture for you. In those vlogs, and yes, they're online for anyone to see, he'd show how even on days when he was sick, or had zero energy, he'd try to tick off at least a couple of tasks. Maybe he'd read a few pages in a self-help book, or send out 3 or 4 emails to potential clients. He had this almost stubborn optimism, telling himself tomorrow will be better. That's not a trust fund mentality, that's a I need to make ends meet mentality. Before diving into social media marketing, he actually tried personal training. This was around 15 or 16 years old. He'd give meal plans, chat about workout routines, and he studied real sports science textbooks just to offer value. If your dad's giving you an endless allowance, do you really hustle that hard at such a young age, memorizing nutritional guidelines and reading about macros and calorie deficits? Probably not. Next up, the big pivot was social media marketing. The guy was practically ecstatic about small contract retainers like £75 a week for full social media management. That might sound like nothing to some people, but to him back then, it meant validation. It meant he was actually trading skills for money on his own terms, and he definitely wasn't bragging about lavish dinners or trips at that point. So does that sound like a kid with a loaded father secretly wiring 5-figure checks monthly? Not exactly. More like a scrappy teenager with big dreams, who was all in on hustling. Chapter 3. The Rumor's Root. So here's what I wonder, why would someone spin this tale? I think it boils down to something quite human. It's easier to handle someone's achievements if you can rationalize them away. He's faking. He's got some hidden advantage.
You know, I just remember day after day coming downstairs and just seeing my mom clip those fucking coupons. And I just remember thinking, like, no, like this is not gonna be my life. This is not gonna be our life. You know, if I don't take care of my family, if it's just me and my mom, no one is.
We see it in all areas of life, not just entrepreneurs. Someone gets a promotion at work, they're probably best friends with the boss. Someone sells their startup, oh, their uncle must have invested millions. Humans have a weird tendency to downplay other people's hustle. Negativity also travels fast. In the era of social media, if you say he came from nothing and worked insanely hard, that might not get half as many clicks as exposed Iman's father is a real billionaire. People love that bombshell angle, and especially for a guy in his 20s who, yes, was traveling first class, rocking a fancy watch, it's a quick assumption to go, must be a nepotism nepotism baby because how else could he do it, right? Except we have hours of actual footage showing exactly how else he could do it. But I guess that's too normal a story. Kid hustles for years and builds wealth is less sexy than secret father puppet master. Chapter 4, how he actually documented it. Here's something important. Iman has documented so much of his journey. You can literally watch the timeline of cold calls and emails to land even a single client, late night study sessions for marketing, funnel design, sales psychology sometimes until 3 a.m. Then he'd get up at 7 for school. Shaky camera vlogs in empty hallways, half asleep, but determined to make something happen. What's more revealing is how often you can see the cracks moments where he's absolutely exhausted, or where he admits he failed a sales pitch or lost a client. None of that is the hallmark of a trust fund kid. It's the hallmark of actual normal entrepreneurial struggles. He even admits in multiple videos that he's not superhuman, he's just outworking most people. He never pretended to be a monk though. He was open about wanting money, wanting success, wanting nice things. But that doesn't mean he had them all courtesy of a phantom father. It means he aimed high and charted a path to get there. And seriously, if his dad was secretly loaded, would Iman be crouched in the corner of a random bookstore reading 48 Laws of Power cover just so he wouldn't have to buy it? He's basically admitted to doing that, hiding in corners so staff wouldn't notice him reading for free. That's hustle, if a bit awkward. If I had a billionaire dad, the last place you'd find me is in that kind of predicament. Chapter 5, a human take who benefits from this rumor? Let's talk more human to human. We've all had times when someone doubted us, like that friend who says, yeah, you're probably not going to pull this off, or the coworker who throws side eye whenever you succeed. On a bigger scale, that's what's happening here. Some watchers cling to the rumor because it gives them a get out of jail free card for not pushing themselves. They think, oh, that's why he succeeded, I don't have a rich dad, so I can't do that. It's comforting, in a strange way. Then you have the straight-up haters who just love calling people frauds. Maybe they enjoy surfing comment sections, dropping fake or exposed remarks. Feels good to tear someone down, I guess. But ironically, you can watch Iman's entire journey unfold. It's like a 9-year diary, from the time he was this scrawny teenage gym rat to a more polished entrepreneur. If he were truly faking this rag to riches path, he'd be the best method actor in history, pulling it off day after day, year after year, across multiple platforms. And that's why when someone sees the older videos, they usually drop the rumor real quick. Because no matter how conspiratorial you are, it's hard to dismiss footage of a kid with holes in the walls behind him, editing videos till his eyes burn, trying to sign one more client at 11 p.m. Chapter 6, wrapping it up. So, is the rumor ridiculous? Yeah, I'd say it's absolutely ridiculous. Is it entertaining if you enjoy fantasy? Sure, might give you a 2-minute chuckle. But in reality, it's about as valid as believing Bigfoot does your laundry at night. Iman Gadzhi stands as a prime example of what can happen when you combine grit, sweat, questionable Wi-Fi, and a cheap camera. The guy is living proof that you don't need to be part of a wealthy bloodline to build something monumental. Did he end up hitting massive revenue numbers? Apparently so, some say 9 figures. But none of that means he cheated his way up. If anything, it shows that with the right marketing skills, refusal to quit, and a willingness to look silly filming in your bedroom, you might build your own empire. And ironically, that might spawn rumors about you. Funny how success invites that sort of speculation, huh? Anyway, that's my 2 cents on the conspiracy. If you ever find yourself the target of something similar like, oh, you only got that scholarship because your uncle's on the board, you can probably relate. My best advice is to keep your head down and keep doing the work. Eventually, results speak louder than rumors. Thank you for hanging out with me today. If this helped clear the air, go ahead and share your own craziest rumor story down in the comments. I'm sure we've all heard some wild stuff, right? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more of these kinds of videos. Thanks for watching.